You may have heard of the hedonic treadmill from some doomer or budding nihilist who comes up to you and says, you can't ever be happy because you'll always go back to your hedonic equilibrium. And then you punch them in the face. But what is this hedonic treadmill? And is life really so morbid that you're always going to go back to this equilibrium that the dude on the floor was talking about? The hedonic treadmill is an idea from the Hedonic Adaptation Theory. It's the idea that everyone has this hedonic set point, and you may have positive experiences that make your well-being go up, and you may have negative experiences that make your well-being go down, but in the end, you're always going to return to this hedonic set point. It's like a sine wave, sort of. There's some ups, there's some downs, but in the end, you're always going to return to this neutral point where you oscillate around that. This is sometimes called the hedonic neutral or the hedonic equilibrium, or some other really dumb big words that's not interesting to say at all. There's a bunch of different theories on why we're like this. For example, there's the idea that strong emotions, either positive or negative, lessen our awareness, which wouldn't exactly fare well back in the days that we were living with tigers, dinos, the days back before soup. At the beginning of the video, I joked about how doomers or people that have just discovered nihilism will sometimes use this hedonic treadmill idea to posit the fact that you can never attain happiness. You might get there briefly and you might experience joy, but you're always going to go back to this neutral point and it won't matter and you can never do it. Heck, even a research paper says, quote, "The theory, which has gained widespread acceptance in recent years, implies that individual and societal efforts to increase happiness are doomed to failure." End quote. No. I'm not trying to say that this theory is wrong. Actually, it's very well agreed that this theory is correct. I'm not sure where it happens in the brain or if there's a neurological basis. It would probably be in the prefrontal or neocortex somewhere. But this idea that you go back to a hedonic set point is pretty anecdotal. You can probably understand this yourself. Think about either your birthday or someone's death day. Those feelings of bliss and grief respectively, they generally tend to fade after a certain amount of time. What I'm here to show you though is, well, let's bring that graph back up. That whole returning to the set point thing is true. The idea of going back to neutrality, yeah, that the oscillating thing, that's completely real. However, we can do a really magical thing with this graph. Ready? We can raise the set point. Now what we see is that the highs are higher and the lows are higher. And what does this mean for your emotional being? Well, it means that your highs are more positive, your neutral is more positive, and even when you're sad, it's more positive. Across the board, you're more positive. And Shawn Achor agrees with this in his book. Quote, "We have far more control over our emotional well-being than previously believed. While we each have a happiness baseline that we fluctuate around on a daily basis, with concert effort, we can raise that baseline permanently so that even when we are going up and down, we are doing so at a higher level." End quote. Another option is to sustain the highs for longer. And this video taken out of context can really give a different impression than the one I'm trying to give here. This is called the Hedonic Adaptation Prevention model. All the sources for the things I'm saying are in the description, by the way. How then do we increase our hedonic set point? Well, that's exactly what Shawn Achor's book, The Happiness Advantage, deals with. And I have an entire podcast episode going over the practices and ideas that Shawn shares with us in the book. And I'll leave that linked in the description. Here, I'll give you a few of the basic principles from the book. First, meditate. Second, find something to look forward to. Third, commit conscious acts of kindness. Fourth, infuse positivity into your surroundings. Now, there's a few more, and those are all pretty self-explanatory, so I didn't have any long-winded explanation, but I do need to give you a reason to listen to my podcast, as well as a reason to keep watching this video. So if you want to learn more about how to increase your hedonic set point, go read the book or go watch or listen to that podcast episode. But we have one section left, so don't leave me yet. Stick with me. Before we go down the sine wave, this is your friendly reminder to hit that like and that subscribe. Make small channel a bit less small. Big please. But I want to go ahead and slide down that sine wave now. This hedonic treadmill thing can be negative a little bit. The thing is, human beings are incredibly adaptive, and overall this is really great. If life decides to poop on you, if you sat there and complained the entire time, you're not exactly going to get anywhere. But if you adapt to the situation and you accept where you are, now you can do something about it. The problem is that this also applies the other way. A few months ago, I made a video titled "Why You're Never Satisfied and What You Can Do to Fix It." The hedonic treadmill lends to that idea. If you win the lottery, after a bit of time, you're gonna probably get used to it. And that's gonna at least make you a little less grateful. And when you become a little less grateful, you'll become a lot less satisfied. And sooner than later, you're gonna start wanting more, because ecstasy is a drug. The emotion, not yeah. If this is something that you're concerned about, go ahead and watch my video on satisfaction. It's not as well edited as this one, but I've heard that linking you to other content on my channel is a good idea as a content creator. So yeah, on to the conclusion. The idea of the hedonic treadmill is innately neutral. However, it is a philosophy picked up by blooming doomers and nihilists, people that want to spread negativity. Next time that someone comes up to you and tells you about the hedonic equilibrium or hedonic set point, you can push up your glasses and tell them about increasing their set point. And then you can punch them. Until then, go ahead and punch those buttons for me. I will see you in the next one. Much love. Thank you for watching. Be positive. Peace.